This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine 3 years ago when we were in high school together. Dwayne was a total doofus. His mom was a judge, his dad was a university professor. His 12-year-old sister was in the advanced class, a certified actual genius. And Dwayne, let's just say he was a long-haired, nose-pierced numbskull. His brain was a total waste of the electrical impulses it takes to run a brain. But the weird thing is, Dwayne aced every exam he ever took. Dwayne made it all the way through high school like he had no clue what was going on in any class. When the teacher would ask, "Who knows the answer?" Dwayne would hide behind his book. When he had to go up to the blackboard to do a math problem, he'd claim his finger was broken so he couldn't hold the chalk. But when it came to the midterm or final exam, Dwayne got an A. Sure, everyone thought Dwayne was cheating. By the time he reached his senior year, he was thoroughly searched before he'd enter the exam room. No crib notes were ever found. His arms and legs were examined for written answers. Even the bottom of his feet were free and clear, except, of course, for the toe rings and the one little piggy, two little piggy tattoos. Okay, so it was the last final high school exam Dwayne would ever have to take. English was the subject, and Miss Steinmeister was the teacher. The toughest teacher in the school, maybe in the whole country. Steinmeister means stern master. No one was more stern than this old battle axe. And on the day of the final exam, she was so stern she radiated an aura of, "You mess with me, I'll rip your head off." You see, Miss Steinmeister had just come from having extensive, painful dental work done on her stern teeth. I mean, that day, she was like a pit bull with a migraine. One girl asked if she could hold her hanky during the exam because she had this terrible running nose. Miss Steinmeister barked at her so furiously, the girl's nose was afraid to run. So the exam begins. The students open up their test books, take one look at the test, and there's a group moan. The questions are the hardest they've ever seen. Sweat began to roll down the brows of all the students. All the students except Dwayne. He got right into it, answering one question after the other. He'd look at the question, take a minute to think about it, then write down the answer. And then the next question and the next. Without missing a beat, Dwayne was acing this test just like he did all the others. At least that's how it looked. But here's what was really going on. That's right, Dwayne had a teeny tiny camera. You know, the kind you can buy in one of those security spy shops? He'd pretend to think while the camera transmitted the question to Mary Margaret, who would transmit the answers to Dwayne. Even when Miss Steinmeister would stand next to Dwayne and glower at him suspiciously, she had no clue how this nincompoop was answering the questions. She could do nothing more than gape in total amazement when Dwayne got to the question she put on the test for the express purpose of stumping Dwayne. But suddenly, Miss Steinmeister perked up like a dog. I told you she resembled a pit bull. He was hearing something only a dog can hear. But this dog, teacher, started to wander around the room like she was in some kind of a trance. It was a totally weird sight to see. Miss Steinmeister wandered up and down the aisles, then would suddenly stop and wander off in another direction. She finally came to stop right at Dwayne's desk, pulled the pen out of his hand, pointed it at her face, and said, "Gotcha." Then she held out her hand. Dwayne tried to play dumb, not a stretch for Dwayne. But Miss Steinmeister just stood there. It seemed like forever. And Dwayne finally folded. He took out his mini earpiece and dropped it in Miss Steinmeister's palm. Dwayne didn't have to speak. The totally confused look on his face, more totally confused than usual, asked the question, "How did you know?" Miss Steinmeister leaned over, opened her mouth next to Dwayne's ear, and he could hear Mary Margaret saying, "Dwayne, what's going on? Did the pit bull catch you?" That's right. Miss Steinmeister was receiving the transmission from Dwayne's sister on the extensive dental work she had just had done. This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. Dwayne had to start high school all over. And now, when he takes an exam, he's surrounded by a static field to prevent any transmission of answers. Oh yeah, Dwayne's a freshman again. He's been one for 3 years now.